Okay, so in this video, we're going to talk about this camera PTZ controller. So we only have two PTZ cameras currently available to us. As you can see, this controller has camera 1 through 7. So if we, for some crazy reason, decided to have 7 cameras for our live stream, we'd be able to do that pretty easily with this controller. This isn't an extremely difficult setup to learn how to use. It's just learning how to use it in tandem with the ATEM Mini Pro. That's going to be our video switcher. So with the PTZ camera controller, we're going to run through some of the basics and then some kind of best practice here that I want to go through with you. What we have is we've got our camera selector. We're currently showing camera 1 on program on this screen here. And then we've got a joystick. So moving this left and right, up and down, moves that PTZ camera left and right, up and down. You can see it's only camera 1 that's moving. If we select camera 2, now you can see that camera 2 is moving. But we're going to stick with camera 1 for right now. Along with being able to move left and right, up and down, if you twist it clockwise, you zoom in. If you twist it counterclockwise, you zoom out. So these are some of the basics of this that really don't take a long time to get used to. There's also this rocker switch that you can zoom using if you want to do left hand zooming and then right hand panning, but it's pretty easy to zoom and also move at the same time. So it's kind of whatever your preference is, but those are those main controls on this controller. We also have the ability to set presets for each of these cameras. So there's 9 presets that we can select. So if we wanted to get a really close shot on the drum cage, then we can zoom all the way in and we just hold down 1. And now that's set. Let's say we want to get a more zoomed out shot of the drum cage. And hold down 2. Now that's set. So if we click 1, that's our zoomed in shot. If we click 2, that's our zoomed out shot. So each of these cameras, camera 1 and camera 2, have 9 options for presets. And so that gives you the ability to set those shots during practices, and then during the actual service, you can recall those shots a lot easier and not have to be moving around and finding different shots. One of the good points of practice with this is, for example, if Joel's on the stage, we might be kind of tracking him a little bit up here with camera 1, and then we can switch to camera 2 and get a different shot of him and maybe track him with that, and then with the actual video switcher, make that transition. So when somebody's on stage speaking and they're moving around the stage, sometimes we'll be doing live panning and tracking, but for the most part, people who are just up there speaking or singing, we can use those preset shots, and that works really well for us. Another thing to know about these presets is we have the ability to use near and far focus on this controller. So I'm gonna pick something on the stage that's gonna kind of help us envision this. So let's go ahead and grab, using camera 2, let's grab this. So this is an iPad stand. So if you're looking at the PTZ controller, near and far are down here, and you've got autofocus. I would prefer for us to not use autofocus, and to, in every shot that we save as a preset, make sure that the subject of that shot is in focus. The way you do this is you can just hold down near. You can see the focus changing. Or you can hold down far. You can see that going out of focus. Okay, so I maneuver my camera a little bit so that you can see this better, because this is a really important thing. These are nice cameras. We don't want any of our shots to be significantly out of focus. So if for some reason we were wanting to show this stand with an iPad clip on it, clearly, then we'd get that in focus using near and far. We get it in focus as best we can, and then we'd save that preset. And now, if you decided to get it out of focus, you can just recall that preset and it snaps it back into focus. So this is really, really helpful because there's not much more distracting than when you're at home watching worship or maybe a sermon, and for some reason the baptistry stones are in focus instead of the person who's speaking. So let's go back over to camera 1. This mic stand is on the front of the stage, and the guitar stock and neck are on the back of the stage. So to get the mic stand in focus, ideally the person who's behind the mic stand, we're going to use the near button. To get more at the back of the stage in focus, we're going to use the far button. So I'd like to be able to see, to even maybe read some of the letters. It says Yamaha. That's my guitar, so I already know that. But you can see that now the foreground is blurred and the background is in focus. And we can save these shots just like any other preset and then recall them anytime we want. So that's going to be a really, really, really important feature for the person at home watching the stream to be able to feel like they're not distracted from either the worship or the sermon because something in the background is much more in focus than the subject of the camera shot. Another thing that we're going to need to be careful with this controller is not selecting one of these presets while we have that camera shot on program. Got camera 1 in preview. It doesn't matter that we're selecting different presets because that's not going to program. So we can move to whatever preset we need. Then we can change over camera 1 to program. We can select camera 2 on the PTZ controller, change whatever we need there, and then switch back. So you'll get kind of the muscle memory on this. The main thing is not changing any presets and having this kind of whiplash effect when you have that camera shot currently on program. And as we discussed before, camera 3 is just a static shot, so this controller isn't going to have anything to do with that. So that should be everything you need to know for the most part about this PTZ controller. There are a couple little tricks with exposure and white balance that we need to be careful with. Brightness going up and down. Let's switch back to camera 2 shot. So you can make the brightness go up and down. But we want to be cautious with those. We want the different camera shots to be pretty well lined up and not look extremely different than each other. So I wouldn't mess with the brightness between the cameras very much, or the exposure or the white balance. You can change the zoom speed and the PT speed using these two knobs for each of the cameras. So PT speed is the pan and tilt. So for camera 2, that's the PT speed. For camera 1, that's the PT speed. So you can adjust that speed using this knob, increase it, and it'll move a little bit faster. And you can do that either by gently panning, or if you want to get all the way across the stage, you can pan a little bit harder. So this is touch sensitive in that way. Or you can actually physically turn down the PT speed and you get a really slow pan. So those are some tricks that you can use as you learn to use this system better.